So for UoM today, we have number 1, Natasha Ragg, Emma Proctor at number 2, Rachel Harrison at 3, Annie Lyles at 4, Suzanne Hodge at 5, Frankie Morgan's Slader at 6. We've then got Ella Jones and Zoe Childs Ford finishing off the pack. Scrum half, we've got Helen Brown, who will be captaining today. We've got Megan Grant Harris. Those are the halfbacks for today. We then have Tasha Barnes, Alicia Chasm Sharples, Olivia Ball, Izzy Robbins, and the fullback Nyamado Hannah Adedepar. On the bench, we have Claire Gordon, Eve Chaplin, Kat Alston, Alex Colkin, Louise Buttimer, Rachel Woolley, Sana Ifsal, and Ruth Dow.
And now we have MMU's team. Number 1, Shannon Bird. Number 2, Jess Dyer. Number 3, Lizzie Gladman. Number 4, Catherine Ansell. Number 5, Ellie Stamper. At 6, we've got Georgia Sutherland. At 7, Sam Bundock. At 8, Ellie Byfield. 9, Nicole Crowley. 10, Hannah Birch. 11, Alice Hobson. 12, Charlotte Robinson. 13, Fanny Kiss. 14, Flora Shepherd. 15, Georgia Boone. 16 on the bench, Jessica James. 17, Kate Stabler. 18, Kim Baldwin. 19, Emily Hart. 20, Emma Matthews. 21, Laura Hewitt. And 22, Abby Ollie. Hello, welcome to Fuse's coverage of Rugby Varsity 2017, both TV and radio. I'm Alex Whitcomb, Head of News at Fuse FM, and I'm joined by my side by Ollie Carr.
Hello, it's good to be here today. We're just watching the MMU ladies warm up, and the UoM ladies have come out on the pitch looking raring to go at the AJ Bell Stadium. It's just coming up to 5 o'clock. Both teams are lined up and are looking ready to play. What are you thinking, Alex?
I think it's going to be a good game. Bit of a walkover last year, but hopefully a bit closer as they kick off, and it's taken by UoM.
Helen Brown has taken that into play. It's gone down. We're just off the 22-metre line. UoM have taken that into play, but it's being kicked. And that's just rolled off the pitch. It looks to be a University of Manchester line-out just inside the 10-metre line of the pitch. The crowd are slowly filling the stands, and UoM step up to take the line out. UoM are slow up there, and MMU have stolen that. Come to the MMU scrum half, who takes it down to the floor and into play. A good forward drive from the MMU prop there as they secure ball and send it down the line. Oh, it's a great steal from Zoe Childs Ford, who's turned that over and given quick ball to UoM, taking that into contact once more to number 12, who refuses to go down. Back out from Helen Brown, down the line, a good line play. What's going to happen here? She's hit the floor.
Well kept in play though. And we have a quick restart. And UoM brought to ground there, quickly fed out, doing a quick drive through, but not making too much progress, but still safely in possession at the moment.
Sending it back down the line. They're into the right of the pitch. UoM, there's a gap there, and it's just been fumbled there by the UoM player. It's a knock-on. The refs called it UoM knock-on. It will be a scrum in favour of Manchester Metropolitan University. We've got a replay here of that situation. And they form the scrum. Looks to be just in between the halfway line and the 10-metre line. MMU are ready to feed the ball straight in the scrum. It's been fed, and it's been turned over into UoM possession. pass it down the line, an excellent line from number 12, but it looks to be a forward pass. Oh no, yes, that is a forward pass. And so MMU will put the ball back into the scrummage again in their own favour. UoM ladies set up, ready to receive an attack from MMU. Something's gone wrong there in the scrum. It looks like they'll need to scrum down and do that again. It was looking in MMU's favour.
And yeah, we're just again it's a fairly long stoppage, this one. Yeah, so Man Met just about to put into the scrum again. This time it goes well. This time Man Met still have it, but the scrum half has neutralised it fairly quickly.
Helen Brown has taken that straight down on the scrum half, but Man Met have received possession again. A huge hit from UoM. Goes back down. Ruck's cleared out, very quick phase of play. A lot of ball being given to the forwards here, as you would expect for the first few phases. And that's a knock-on by Man Met.
Backwards.
Oh, no, it's gone backwards. Indeed it has. Into a ruck, and really what we're trying to find here is Man Met are just trying to gain any possession they can. UoM are slowing down play to the best of their ability.
It does seem that these opening phases, they've broken through. Man Met have broken through. Number 3 for Man Met broke the line there, and it looks like Man Met have got a bit of momentum. They're still playing. They're not playing a massively expansive game. They're still trying to drive through the middle. But they are playing quite a few offloads. They've got a bit of space through the middle of the park. They've managed to get to the, and there's turnover ball at the halfway line. And UniOff have got space on the near side, but they've overthrown the pass, and she's just and Natasha Barnes has just avoided touchline very, very well, I thought. With millimetres away, and Helen Brown is running on the near side of the pitch and has passed straight back to Man Met. Turnover ball from Man Met.
One thing I've got to say is there's been a few massive hits put in by Rachel Harrison, tight head prop for UoM, but we've got Man Met running away with the ball here just in front of the halfway line, but play has been stopped. It looks to have been a knock-on, and another scrum will now go on.
There is a gentle sort of trickling in of people into the stadium. As you would expect, there's 2 matches on today. The men's match will be kicking off at around 7:45, we reckon. The timing's given us by the rugby club. And as you'd expect, people, the rugby stamina of watching rugby. Many of these people don't often go to rugby, and so watching 2 games may be a bit much. But there are people coming in, a crowd sort of gently coming in, University of Manchester crowd on our side of the pitch, and on the other side, Man Met, as we prepare for a scrum with UoM's put in. And Anna Brown puts in and feeds to the near side. Again, the pit pass isn't brilliantly taken, but the offload is good. The offload is good into a tackle, and they are driving through the centre of the pitch, feeding it out wide to the near side, and the fullback Rachel Harrison. Oh no, it's running, and there we go. The fullback has scored.
That is a terrific line from Niamado Adedepa, the Waterloo women's player we were talking about earlier. I'll tell you one thing, that's surprising. It was a bit of a deadlock for the first 8-10 minutes of this match, but that's 5 points down, 5 points UoM, nothing for MMU.
It's worth saying on the territory stakes at the moment, I would probably wager that it's about 98% UoM and about 2%. The only point where we were really in the UoM half in this first period of play was when Man Met had the kickoff. So I'd say at the moment it looks like Man Met really on the defensive.
Well, I'm surprised here actually, because I came here hearing about last year's sort of run over of MMU. I believe the score was 72-12 to UoM, and Watching this game so far, I thought it was a pretty evenly matched game. It's obvious that MMU have put in some improvements since getting promoted to the same league as UoM. That's been converted, and so it's looking 7-0 at the AJ Bell, UoM taking the lead.
Yes, and as you've heard from the cheers, there are people now coming into the stadium, coming to our right by the pitch at the moment. And yes, it is now 7-0 to the University of Manchester, just under 10 minutes gone, and Man Met will have the kick-off again. And I think from this point they will really be hoping for a better kick-off at this point, I think, Ollie.
Absolutely, the last one was rather lacklustre, but that's off, that's just past the 5, and that's been taken well by UoM right winger Olivia Ball. It's clean out the ruck, and indeed that's a knock-on. So as we've found so far, Alex, it's quite a disjointed game, a lot of different phases, a lot of breaks, which is probably pretty good for any commentator. Would you agree?
Yeah, I have to say the stoppages aren't fantastic, but I mean, yes, it provides interest. There's a lot of missed passes today. There's a lot of passes that are bouncing and not being caught by the intended recipient. But there we go. So Uniov have the put in, good pass out of the, and it's knocked on. Advantage to Man Met. Man Met trying to run along the wing, but they just don't have the numbers. They've only got one. They'll be hoping for this, and she needs support right now, I think. And brought down, and there we go. Almost turnover ball. Man Met trying now to drive it through the middle, and really, I mean, they're trying to drive through the middle, and now on at the 10-metre line. Yeah. And yeah, they're really trying to go. And look, and they're driving through the middle, and it's turnover ball to Uniov.
It's a messy game of rugby so far. The phases aren't clean, and it's just anyone's game at the moment. Ball's going anywhere, turnovers all over the place. But this is what the fans love. This is what the fans come for. MMU's fans have, as Alex said, trickled in, and they seem to be in very good voice. A criminal knock on there from Alicia Chasm-Sharples, but you know, those things happen, and UoM seem to have picked themselves up really well on the back line defending, but we now actually have quite a dangerous looking scrum for MMU feeding just off the 5. I'd say this will be fed to the back line, and we'll see what happens. This might be interesting. MMU feeding the ball. UoM, excellent effort in the scrum. That's a turnover from UoM, it looks like. Yep, that's a number 8 pickup from UoM. Fantastic turnover, and pushing the ball back to the 10.
It's not often you see such a clean turnover in the scrum, but there we go. And they've kicked out from there, and yeah, so it will be a Man Met scrum. Sorry, it'll be a Man Met line out. Just sort of shy of the, sort of between the 10-metre line and the yeah. Oh my God, I'm so shit.
Halfway line.
Yeah. I'm so bad. I'm really sorry. Let's see how this line out goes. Oh my goodness. So there has been so knock on there from, getting excited about that.
Now, what it seems to be happening here at the AJ Bell is a lot of the game, some good solid rugby is being played midfield, but when you get into the final third of either side, it's getting sloppy. There's a lot of bottling going on in terms of dropping the ball and in terms of poor passes, but that's the pressure of the game. This is a huge game for both sides. Dare I say, an even bigger game for MMU, given the context of their recent promotion to the same league as UoM. They're playing on equal footing, on an equal standard, and I think it's a great thing for both universities to have this competition. The ball has been passed down the MMU line, and there's a break from the outside centre of MMU. Scrummy takes it in, and it's another knock-on in the midfield. Bit of a scrappy phase of play there, but we're still sort of meandering around the halfway line, here at the AJ Bell Stadium. UoM still leading 7-0 after a cracking line by their fullback Niamado Adedepa, and willingly converted through the posts straight underneath them. Helen Brown stands there with a strong stance right next to the halfway line and feeds in the scrum. It's out to Megan Grant-Harris, who passes it down the wing, and it's slightly overthrown, but we've still got it on the pitch. Tasha Barnes taken it into contact, gone straight down, and it's been cleared out. It's been very well kicked by Megan Grant-Harris just off the pitch, and we've got a line out just past the halfway line. I believe that's going to MMU, so nothing too threatening as of yet.
Yeah, kicked out on the full. Looks like a decent kick, but yeah, it was. Yeah, again, the problem that's happened again is that UoM have overthrown it. Tash Barnes on the wing has fairly like, has, you know, very well sort of has saved it from going out, and we have a man met. But as a result of that kick, we have a man met line out just shy of the halfway line. But it has been lost. It has been lost, and UoM have got it. And it is. Again, it's a fairly clean line. It's fairly clean, and it's driving through the centre now. UoM's number 8, and Hannah Brown takes it out to the wing. Helen Brown takes it out to the wing, and UoM's wingers are attempting to play some sort of expansive play, and the UoM's fullback is doing really well at sort of trying to evade the man-met defence, but it's sort of they got themselves into a mire at the moment. They're sort of just shy of the 22-metre line, but now trying to play wide, and they just aren't. It's just the shape isn't there at the moment.
Alicia Chasm-Sharples has been taken down off a huge hit. Speaking to the UoM squad earlier, Helen Brown, captain, assured me that indeed Alicia, the inside centre, has a terrific inside crash ball, which we're looking forward to see. Lacking as of yet, but there's a lot more rugby to be played. Still 7-0 here to UoM at the AJ Bell Stadium. That's a penalty. MMU will look to kick this into touch. Alex, I'll tell you one thing. Oh, they didn't kick it into touch. They've taken it straight into contact. She's gone alone, but we'll look. That's very well cleared out by MMU. Just on the halfway line. The phase of play is quick, and it has trickled down to the left wing. It's been kicked, and it's again with UoM fullback Niamado Adedepa.
Yeah, again, and look, UoM have got the numbers on the left wing. They're trying to get out. Tasha Barnes on the wing, and they're just a bit too slow there, but the offload is good. They're just shy of the touchline and driving through. They're just about at the 10-metre line, and Helen Brown, as the captain, is again. It's a lot of offloads in this game. I'm surprised they aren't playing a safer game. It's very risky at the moment, but I suppose they're making mistakes anyway. So. And grief, they're trying. Yeah.
Some fantastic ground being made by UoM forwards through here, and it's a stunning run, but it's just been stopped. Ref has taken play back to just where the 22 is, and UoM hopefully will this time look to kick into touch. It's kicked, it's gone, and a fairly dangerous looking line out in UoM's benefit here. So we'll see what happens now. I've got to say, I was talking to Helen Brown, a University of Manchester captain, just a few hours ago, and she assured me that today's victory was probably not going to be as large as last year's victory. She said it's going to be a tough match, but they're confident, and I think that's very much on display at the moment. UoM still 7-0 up. We've taken a little pause for water. Coach has come on and given some encouraging chat. MMU are standing impatiently, looking fairly fed up, but no, water's come for them too. The atmosphere here is significantly improved in the last 20 minutes, Alex.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least MMU have brought songs. I think it will probably, again, unfortunately, the atmosphere will probably improve just before the men's start. This is usually the case. I mean, I suppose it's trying to get people out of lectures and stuff in time for this is the case. But it does look like we're shaping up back for a line out. Although Man Met have got someone injured over there. The part of the play was disrupted earlier by that injury on the field, and we should be getting going fairly soon.
While we're on this break of play, Alex, if I could just have a quick word. There's been some sausage rolls flying about up here in the gantry, which one or two have been devoured by the Fuse FM team. Yet to see some sausage around my ends of this gantry.
Yes, I think we should probably move away from the innuendo right now. And I would say sausage requests should be forwarded to Ethan Davis. But on. Actually, I was about to say on the subject of sausage. I'm not going on the subject of sausage whatsoever. We're here for some rugby. Yeah. Right. I think I should hand over to you.
No sausage on this pitch. We've got our line. We need to get the word sausage out of our heads right now. Line out's being taken by UoM. Hooker Emma Proctor is lining up astutely, ready to place it in. First pod goes up, ball comes across, and it's actually caught by Ella Jones, who takes it into contact. A clear phase, Helen Brown takes it out. It's a good forward run, heavy contact into the MMU back line, and play has stopped again. Looks like we've got another injury down here. It was a rather fierce hit down from Ella Jones's straight line run into MMU's back line. Play's looking fairly dangerous here. We're in MMU's final third. UoM are looking confident. They're looking quite relaxed on the ball. They're looking to get. They've gotten a bit more organised in the last 5 or 10 minutes. So I'd say game on, Alex.
Yeah, it has a very different feel to last year's game. Last year's game really was a trouncing. There are very few games where you go to where you just feel so sorry for one team, but this is looking like a fairly good game. I would say that still MMU are playing on the defensive. I don't think there have been a few brief moments of flair, but again, it just looks like lots of the moves that are happening are kind of overstretching. Neither team is playing particularly safe. I wonder as if the game goes on. Yeah, I mean, it seems ridiculous to be saying that this early as well. To be playing such an expansive game as it's only 7-0. But yeah, so Man Met, it does look like they are substituting one of their players, and we are just about to resume with a scrum on the 10-metre line. And they're just announcing the substitution over the tannoy. And we're ready ourselves for a scrum on the 10-metre line put in from UoM.
This is good for UoM. Just encroaching on MMU's final third here. Helen Brown is about to feed this straight into the scrum. It's looking good. Clean, straight out for Helen, and it's a number 8 pickup. And I'll tell you what, she is playing terrifically. What a run from Zoe Childs forward, but the ball has been lost and it's been taken into contact by MMU. Phase of play stopped. There's been a knock on there, and so, oh no, it's a penalty. In fact, MMU runs it into contact. No kicking from MMU into touch as of yet, which I'm quite surprised by. But it's stalemate here in the fight. Oh, it's a turnover. It's a turnover, and Emma Proctor has taken it into contact. Again, we're just UoM are just meandering around this final third. Not much ground being gained, but not much being lost from UoM. Alex?
No, the game itself it's just stoppages after stoppage, with nothing really moving either way as of yet. Both teams taking some quite substantial risks again. I mean, you should really, I mean, it was in the middle of the pitch, but you should really be kicking out a ball like that if you've got the penalty.
Now, this is the first time Alex and I have worked together, but I am sensing some impatience from you, Alex. Anything to say on that?
I think it's fine. I think I'm all right. But yeah, no, it's good. It's a good game, to be fair.
Try 40 more minutes of this.
No, it will be fine. I will be fine. I assure everyone. We've got a spare substitute commentator on hand just in case. But MMU start playing. They've sort of got themselves into some traffic in the middle, and again another stoppage for an MMU penalty, which they look to be just tapping. There we go. They tap. They're on the attack, and a brilliant pass there, and another fantastic offload, playing it into the wing. But they say have been stopped by UoM, and there is a turnover ball, an excellent turnover ball, but a knock on there from UoM. So we will have a scrum fairly near to the halfway line on MMU side, with MMU having to put in.
A lot of turnovers, a lot of them in the benefit of University of Manchester, and I think that's, at the end of the day, it's what wins you games like these, scrappy games where there's stalemates any side of the pitch, and you just have to have that extra little bit of something to be winning those scrappy bits of ball that are coming out of anywhere. MMU scrum, fed in by their scrum half, and it's terrific by UoM. Scrum will be taken again, but one thing I will say is that the UoM scrum is looking really terrific. Seriously, very heavy push from the ladies every time, and if I were MMU, I'd be worried right now, because they're just not looking as strong in the scrum. Still at the AJ Bell Stadium, indeed here, 7-0 to UoM. Ball has been fed into the scrum, MMU take it, and that's not worked again. We have a few subs on UoM side of the pitch, just warming up, looking like they might be ready to come on at half time, but yeah, it's important to keep warm. It's freezing here at the moment.
Yes, and we've got a substitution of our own at the moment. We're very much a team here at Fuse FM. We all get on very well, and just as MMU win a penalty and play out to the right hand side, they've got good numbers, but alas, they've made a mistake, and not a knock on, lost off the feet, and there's an offload, and they are playing out on the wing on the far side of the pitch near the halfway line, and lots of offloads going on. They've finally been brought down by UoM and play it out to the near side of the pitch. Another offload there. Currently still 7-0 to UoM and brought down in the ruck at the halfway line. And I now hand over to Ethan Davis.
Oh, thank you very much, Alex. Yes, my name's Ethan. I'll be helping fill in for Alex just until half-time. And as we see it now, there's a ruck forming just shy 5 metres of the halfway line, and MMU spray out left with another breakdown tackle coming. And we have a prop crashing in as well. It seems to be very drive after drive with MMU at the minute. There's not a lot of expansion going on. Maybe that's something to do with the error count, Ollie.
Ethan, great to see you. MMU have taken a terrific run down into UoM's final third. Ball dropped, but it's gone backwards. Play on, the ref says, as MMU run towards the wing. It's a great hit from UoM, but possession still with MMU. Ethan, great to have you here. I see Alex has probably gone to get another sausage roll. Thanks for inviting me to the party, but I will continue to look at this wonderful phase of play, and that's the inside. It's tight head prop from MMU. It's a beautiful try. That's two dummies from MMU's tight head prop. Absolutely sold to the first bidder. She's run straight through a straight line under the posts. It's game on here at the AJ Bell. It's 7-5, UoM leading, but we'll soon see whether that can be converted. I've got a bit excited there. That came out absolutely nowhere, Ethan.
Absolutely. I think if you look at the definition of innocuous in the dictionary, you'll see what that prop looked like just as she received the ball. But it was two fantastic side steps to side through two tackles, and with a relatively simple kick in front of the post. You'd imagine this game would be 7-all as we enter the second half of the first half. yeah, we just see the MMU kicker ready herself, take the necessary precautions and preparations. She takes 3 steps back, then 3 to the left as we see it now, and takes a deep breath to steady herself. And still the traffic is buzzing over the M60 through past chill factor, a ski slope, which apparently is very good. And here comes the kick. Oh, and it's a horror show, unfortunately. It has gone directly under the post into the huddle of UoM players, so the score stays 7-5.
Now that is a surprise. It was an absolute peach of a conversion. You couldn't ask for anything more. It was a wonderful phase of play, tucked neatly underneath the posts, and MMU it's just not worked for them there. Indeed, 7-5 at the AJ Bell Stadium, and it's absolutely game on here. Ethan, did you expect this after the first 10 minutes of this match?
Well, we knew that MMU had strengthened significantly, but considering last year's 72-12 mauling, I would not have expected this in the slightest. I thought we'd be maybe seeing a 25-30 point difference between the two teams based on what we saw last year, but all the better for it. I think the women's game needs sort of close-knit matches and not just boring maulings all the time.
It's about 32 minutes into the match at the moment, and MMU have got a penalty on the halfway line. Still no kicking into touch for MMU as they are taking it into contact. It's an absolutely massive hit. Gone down and ball handled on the floor. It's now UoM ball. Penalty there. We'd expect this to be kicked into touch. I think quite rightly it should be. But we've just got a slight delay. No, it's gone straight to Zoe Childs Ford, UoM number 8, who's had a terrific match so far. She's running straight, she's running fast, she's running hard, and it is massively working in University of Manchester's benefit. And it's a huge hit on Megan Grant Harris, who took the ball fairly unwillingly, and you can see why. Play's been stopped once more by the ref. It looks to be another penalty for UoM, which has been taken quickly. Megan Grant Harris runs with the ball fairly deliberately down into the corner, and she's kicked it in that same direction. The ball meanders down the try line out past the dead ball line, and it will look to be a free kick now. Ethan, any thoughts on this place? How long have the Varsity been coming to the AJ Bell Stadium for?
I think it's maybe only the second time that's been at the AJ Bell, because of course in 2015 it was at Hayward Road, the home of Sale RFC, but now we're at the home of Sale Sharks, RUFC, and of course Salford Red Devils, the Super League club. It's a terrific venue. It's really state of the art for this sort of size, around a 12,000 capacity. We expect there's significantly less than that as UoM take it down the left wing, and unfortunately, having beaten 2 players, the UoM winger is dragged into touch, so it will be an MMU line out around in between the 22 and 10 metre line for MMU. So, as we were saying, the AJ Bell is a fantastic venue. We've got red and blue seats reflecting the 2 sides that play here, Sale and Salford, as we just mentioned. The crowd is probably getting on for around 1,000 at the minute. We spoke to the men's team earlier, and they said for that match later on in the day, there were around 4,000 last year, and they're expecting a similar number this year. Still, as the line out goes wide, we see the ball sprayed out to the inside centre of MMU, and she now gallops past the halfway line, breaking 2 tackles, and is eventually dragged down by the fullback. And in at 9, is the MMU 12, and 2 more good phases of play into a second row. Is now being wrapped up into a maul, but she presents the ball cleanly on the ground into a ruck, and there's more bobbles and bounces, and eventually the ball has now found its way out to the near side right wing for MMU. And again out to the 7, and more tackles come in, and more presentation, and more offloading. And it's a huge handoff. You can hear Ollie getting it.
That's a bad handoff to right winger of UoM, Izzy Robbins. It's been taken well, but play has been carried on. We're at MMU possession right now. They've made their way. They're slowly making their way towards the 22 in UoM half. It's a terrific run She's going past. That's a great offload. We're about to approach UoM's 5 metre line. If MMU can get themselves organised, they're going to have something special here. It's a straight, deliberate line ran in by MMU to the 5 metre. It's passed out to the wing, and I would say this is game, and that's a try. It's not. It's not a try. Wow, this is melodrama here at the AJ Bell. I thought it was. Ethan thought it was, most of this crowd thought it was, but it wasn't. The ref has stopped play, he's taken it back, and we're having a scrum just before UoM's 5 metre line. It's still a dangerous scrum, Ethan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we're actually seeing is, as we saw UoM sort of camp around the 22 metre line of MMU, now we're seeing MMU really grow into the game and really make the most of these sort of half chances they've got. They scored from a very innocuous opportunity, and that was sort of a similar thing. It's still absolutely, as Ollie was just mentioning, a very dangerous place for UoM at the minute. They'll need to secure this ball first, and I imagine, Ollie, the sensible thing here would just be boot to ball, absolutely leather it out into touch.
Absolutely not going to happen as far as I'm concerned at the moment, because MMU have been very shy in terms of kicking, but hold on, it's UoM's ball down the wing. I'll tell you one thing, Ethan. Zoe Childs-Ford, UoM number 8, has had a complete blinder this match. Her running has just been terrific. As soon as she's hitting the deck, she's going down, she's presenting the ball. It's organised, and UoM are following suit. The ball has indeed been kicked into touch by UoM. Kicking in this game has been a strange thing, Ethan. As I was just saying earlier, I've really not seen MMU put ball to leather at the moment. UoM are sort of a bit more up for it in terms of the kicking game, but it's just something that's taken me a bit by surprise here.
Yeah, MMU are very hesitant to do it, and I say you could only really use the word dabbling when you're talking about UoM and kicking, but I think that's probably been a bit of a killer for them. After they scored early on, you'd have thought, why not pin them back into their own 22? And they just kept, I think what's happened is tired them, and as the lineup comes in, it's a knock-on by UoM, and we are 30 metres out as the 12 takes it in for MMU, and it's a maul formed that then quickly transfers itself into a ruck. And we can also see the cheerleaders warming up, but we're going wide now with our try scorer. Number 6 is absolutely flattened, but she gets back up and she's going again, passes inside, another huge handoff from the tight head prop. And we're having more and more sort of slow, sloppy play, but you sense something might be building here for MMU. And it goes out to the 10 and into our try scoring 3. And off we go again. And it's a similar sort of crash ball tactic, and we've got a bit of a jackal going on there. I couldn't quite make it out, unfortunately, for the UoM player. But 12 goes again. She runs a straight line. She dummies twice. She goes over a tackle. She presents. Now, what can we MMU expect to do here? They go out on the blind side. 13 taking it on a woman, taking on a winger, then going inside. And it's a turnover ball. So UoM now have it. The referee, I think, might be playing scrum advantage. And at the base of the run, the 9 passes out, and a knock-on is quickly saved from being a knock-on, and it becomes just a side pass.
MMU have become dangerous looking recently. The ball's just been kicked up from UoM, and it's in touch just next to the halfway line. It's back into no man's land, so I can carry on going on this point. You see, MMU picked up in the last 10 or 15 minutes because they've decided to play simple rugby, and they're playing it well. They're playing quick phase rugby. They're dedicating only 1 or 2 to the rucks, but clearing out and doing it properly, and that is why they are looking dangerous here. It's 7-5 at the AJ Bell Stadium. UoM only leading by 2 points. It's anyone's match here. We're approaching half-time, and we can see that because the various cheerleading parties have not only warmed up but look about ready to play the game themselves. It's been put out to MMU, going down their back line, just past the halfway line, going into the UoM half, but it's a turnover again, straight to UoM. Helen Brown takes it, and it's that fantastic Zoe Childs-Ford handling the ball once more. We're at deadlock here on the halfway line, turnover after turnover, but UoM do their very best to put it down the wing. Play once more stopped by the ref exactly on the 10-metre line, the other side of the stadium, very close to the MMU fans who are easily excitable, Ethan.
Oh, absolutely. Well, varsity is a red letter day for a lot of people within the university, and they're making the most of it. No doubt they'll have drank a few pints before, but I'm sure if they're all over a team, we'll encourage that to a sensible level. What I did find interesting, though, there...
Who hasn't?
What I did find it was very interesting there, Ollie, it was the amount of numbers committed to each ruck by UoM. Was there about 4 or 5 forwards in there that really didn't need to be, because there's only 1 or 2 MMU contesting it. And what that does is draw people away from the wing, so they can't play the expansive rugby that they need to get past. But head and feed for the scrum has gone to MMU, and they've taken it with 3 or 4 passes. They've built another ruck and from the base it goes out to the blind side. The winger takes it in, and she's wrapped up nicely, but manages to get an offload.
Terrific.
Absolutely terrific play. The 9 keeps going. And she's indomitable spirit is as the jackling of the UoM 7 is leading to more MMU ball. Sorry, so 13 now sidesteps, takes it past some of the UoM defenders, and again it's a turnover. So another bit of scrappy play. This Maul she's got herself down. She's into a ruck. 9 passes out wide, crash ball on Anne Lyles. And as the flanker takes it from there, we have more good play. And it's a steal and a knock-on. So I think the referee has called, he's called for the scrum. So little knock-on there from Rachel Harrison. So I'm sure she'll be disappointed in her error, but it's led to a MMU penalty.
It's a dangerous looking penalty for MMU just past the 10-metre line in UoM's half. It's looking like they'll take this into contact again. The UoM men's have left their stand and they look to be sharply walking into their changing room as MMU have taken the ball straight into contact. We're meandering around the 22 now in UoM's half, and they put it down the line, but that's just been dropped. But no, it's gone backwards, and we're going on. That's an attempted handoff from MMU's 14, who runs with great spirit, and we're down again, and it's a turnover. You know, Ethan, you just never know what's going to happen around here, because, as I say, when they get into the final third, it's anyone's game. There's turnovers galore going on here, and Helen Brown's taken that clean. Zoe Childs Ford has taken that in once more. She seems to be very game for these forward balls going in. There's a bit of a ruckus, and that is half-time called.
That was absolutely right. That's half-time. The score is Manchester Metropolitan Uni 5, University of Manchester 7. So pretty even game. The first 20 minutes were definitely the lion's share of UoM, and then it transferred quickly.
MMU have just stayed there in a sort of huddle for a good 10 minutes. Ethan, anything on that?
It's probably just a standard team ritual, Ollie. I think obviously they'll never play at a stadium like this every week. The Armitage, they'll just be doing the same thing as what MMU have done, having a huddle. I mean, maybe it is probably beneficial that you do go in to keep the muscles warm. And as we kick off, the ball makes the 10, with a knock-on immediately from the 4, and the indomitable Zoe Childs Ford is seething past 5 or 6 players onto the 10, onto the sub number 20. Well, she's absolutely clobbered, but she presents nicely, turns, and at the base of the ruck we have another drive through the substitute prop. Another ruck is formed some 6 metres past, right on the 22-metre line of MMU, and the flanker Ella Jones has scythed through that tackle there. Out to the 9 now, into Anne Lyles as she presents after a tackle, and then another scrum half pass into Zoe Childs 4, but she's quickly wrapped up by the MMU 10 as the ball is presented out into another ruck, out to the 10 of, it's out to the 15 all the way now to Niam. I'm struggling with the commentators.
Commentators' nightmare, this.
How do you pronounce it?
Niam Adedepa, who has played a terrific game when she's been given the ball, which has been fairly rare at fullback, but she's feeding into those backline runs very nicely. She is absolute pace. And I'll tell you what, the more they give her the ball, the more possession they're going to gain here.
The threat level rises exponentially when the ball reaches her hands. Unfortunately, after she offloaded that, I think there was a seemingly a knock-on in the tackle, as we've got a scrum forming with MMU feeding the ball in. It's around 11 metres out off their own line. Everything's just settling down nicely after half-time. People making their way back after coming to the bar, and the cheerleaders are still warming up, security men milling around, and a substitute's being made.
Now, you would expect this to be pretty dangerous from MMU's perspective. UoM have got themselves together, they've clearly had a team talk, because I'll tell you what, they are riled up. Some of those runs that were going on between the halfway line and the 22, strong, powerful running with a great purpose, and if I were MMU here, I would be thinking twice about this, because it's looking dangerous.
Absolutely, and as we've just been chatting away quietly, Ella Jones has been substituted off. We're not quite sure who for, but unfortunately she's had to swap her shirt, as there was no substitute shirt available. So as the scrum is formed with the new substitute, just readying herself, tidying her socks, making sure her hair isn't an extremity that can be pulled on.
One thing worth saying there, Ella Jones, who has just left the pitch, that was her first varsity for UoM, and I'd say a pretty encouraging performance. It's probably unfortunate to go off only 2 points ahead when perhaps there could have been a few more points on UoM's board, but I'd say all round she should be pleased with what she's done. She's gone on the pitch with a draw, she's come off the pitch slightly ahead. So here we go, the cheerleaders are cheering, as you would expect, on UoM's behalf, and the scrum has formed. MMU feed that scrum, but UoM have a powerful scrum, and that is a penalty for UoM. They've taken that quickly. Zoe Childs forward, strong, straight running, straight in front of the try line. We're inside the 5 metres here. This is dangerous on UoM's behalf. Down the line, it's being put, wonderful hands, you get that out, and that's Naomi Adedupa, and, oh no, it's a double movement. Oh no, it's not. That's a try. That's a try for UoM. 5 points more on the board. Ethan, what do you think of that?
That was absolutely terrific backs play. We've seen the forwards really dominate this game, but as we said with our fullback, as soon as she got her hands on the ball, everything changed. The pace quickened, the intensity really took up a notch, and the MMU defenders, they look a bit scared of her. They look like they're afraid to tackle her, and that makes it 12-7 with a somewhat difficult kick to come. It's around 6 metres in from the touch line. It's Megan Grant Harris who is going to be taking this kick. Who is nicknamed Lancs County.
No, that's not a nickname. That's her team. Might well be her nickname as well. The high quality team it is, but Lancaster County rugby player Megan Grant Harris.
I think you mean Lancashire County.
What did I say?
Lancaster.
Oh,
crikey. So I apologise to all the Lancashireans. But it comes to nothing anyways. The kick barely makes it to the post. So it's a 7-point game. And we've just seen the linesman take a tumble and do a barrel roll, which has met much applause. I think he's trying to save face, but there's no coming back from that, is there? The
MMU inside centre has attempted a grubber kick to clear the ball off the pitch. It's hit the linesman. He's taken a tumble. He's taken it well, to be fair, but that was very much an action that went down very well with both sets of fans. Kick off here, straight into the hands of UoM, who've taken it in, and they're charging towards the halfway line. We have Claire Gordon, who's just come on as a substitute, meandering around the halfway line, but good progress being made by UoM's forwards here. Helen Brown cleanly takes the ball out the back of the ruck, and it's looking like it's going down the line here. Mid-pitch, it's just, oh, there she is again. Niamado Adedepa has passed it down to left wing Tasha Barnes, who is absolutely pace. Helen Brown, captain, did tell me earlier that Tasha has some pair of boots on her, and she isn't lying, but it's a turnover, and it's gone to MMU, who grubber kicked it through into mid-pitch, picked up by UoM. Frankie Morgan's slander here, walking down, taking ball into contact. We're on the 22 of Manchester Metropolitan University's half, and it's purposeful running from UoM. It's Olivia Ball who's just taken that in. We're past their 22. There's a bit of a ruckus, a ruckus. What do you call that? Fracas is what I meant. A fracas going on here. Jeremy Clarkson-esque, but again, ball has been lost back into MMU's position, and what they'll look to do here is secure the ball, slow the pace down, but no, they're not. They're passing it out down the line. They're making very good ground, actually. Very good ground indeed. Some stunning runs from MMU's right winger there. And they should look to slow down possession and take a breather and really get to understand where they are, but they're just going for it. They are gunning for it. Much possession being gained there just in the last 20 seconds.
I think it's really important to remember that since half-time both teams have really recognised the importance of direct running. And there has been a stoppage of play as one of MMU's players unfortunately down, injured, which came just at the wrong time as they seem to have broken the UoM line. Both teams have really increased the purpose of their running. They've really started to drive. We've seen less forward ball. We've seen 2 or 3 passes out wide to a 12, to a 13, maybe even to the wing occasionally. We've seen the fullbacks get their hands on the ball more. It's still 12-5 to UoM, so UoM 12, MMU 5, as darkness is beginning to fall on Salford. Interesting fact, one of our producers, Matt Wynne, has pointed out that just behind us to our far left is Davy Hume Sewage Works, which is neighbouring this ground. There is no smell, which is a thankful grace. But, you know, it's still important to remember that this stadium is built on reclaimed land completely. And we see the MMU men's team retake their seats, having done some warming up, done some stretches, probably having a team talk. It does look to be a relatively serious injury of the MMU player who's down. There's a physio attending her. She's now slowly sitting back up, which is great to see.
It's looking slightly different from last year's headline on the Mancunian this time last year, which was "Women batter man met as the men just miss out." Of course, for the men's game, which is yet to come, 7:45 kick-off, we will not know until we're standing there watching it. But so far in this match, while UoM do have the lead, 12-5, it's a much closer match than last year. Last year's runaway victory of 72-12. And I think probably the sport is actually all the better for it, Ethan. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. We've said this before. It's exactly what women's sport needs to develop. We need tighter games. We need more exciting games. No one wants to watch that sort of a kick-off, catch, score game. It's really tiring and a bit boring. But we're setting up now for the scrum. It's MMU head and feed by the looks of it. And they are steadying themselves. It's just 5 metres inside the UoM half. It ricochets out, and it's a reset because unfortunately it was Frankie. What's her surname? Sorry, it's just slipped my mind. Frankie Morgan Slater. Sorry, everyone. She seemed to have put her hands on it, but the referee adjusted it. It just bounced off the hooker's foot, and they came straight back out. So it's a reset. MMU head and feed. They are about 45 metres away from the UoM line, so they have to go some distance in the next phase of play. The two sides are set out perfectly well, and we're waiting just more as the scrum steadies itself.
MMU fans are in fine voice as they feed the ball into the scrum, but it's come out again. And it's a turnover, and UoM pick that up. It's Zoe Childs forward with a number 8 pick-up again. I'm telling you, these scrums are making or breaking this match because UoM are just dominating. We've had a few turnovers so far, but it's just clear by the weight and the purpose of the shift that they're dominating. We're on the halfway line. UoM with possession. It's been taken in purposefully, and a ruck has been formed. It's been cleared, and they've kicked the ball. It was looking like it was going to go into touch, but in fact, Ella Jones, who's actually gone off the pitch, Ella Jones' replacement, has taken that back into possession. It's UoM here, running down the wing. We have Annie Lyles, who's taken that into possession. We're just off MMU's 22 line as Zoe Childs Ford once again. I'm going to say this right now, Ethan. How terrific has Zoe Childs Ford played so far? She's easily been the player of the match, as we see the ball sprayed out again to the UoM 15 as she takes a step back inside and is carried over and under. Niamado Apadidabapa, I think that's not her surname, I'm sorry. There's too many P's in that, I'm very, very sorry. The ball is carried out and it's going to be a line out. We have another player injured. I think it might be Megan Grant Harris, who's just maybe got a touch of cramp. She's stretching her leg out. She's getting assistance from her teammates. Absolutely, yeah. Just during this break in play, one thing is to be said that we were talking about so far most valuable players in this match, and on that note, we were just looking at try scorer, fullback, Niamado Adedepa. It is some name to pronounce, you've got to admit, Ethan. There's even a middle name here, which I'll do my best. I'm gonna go for it. Her full name here is Niamado Hannah Giafuama Adedepa. If that's not some rugby player's name, I don't know what is. MMU take their line out, and it's come clean into their possession. Very well done from MMU, and unfortunately it's a knock-on. Helen Brown dives on it, secures ball, but ref has already called knock-on, so we've got another breakdown here. Scrum will be formed just past MMU's 10-metre line. Absolutely, just going back to Niamado Adedepa. I've got it right this time. I don't want to get that one wrong again. I'm very sorry about that, everyone. She's been absolutely terrific. I think it's neck and neck between her and Zoe Childs Ford for my personal player of the match. And we see the MMU fans doing a Icelandic Viking chant with full overhead claps and the noise that's so famous with that team that knocked England out of the Euro 2016 last year. UoM head and feed then. UoM get it out, it's sprayed, it's a dodgy pass. You can hear the noise rising, the intensity rising. Zoe Childs Ford crashes in. She's setting up a maul. She's gone to ground, taking 3 players down with her. That brings it out to Helen Brown. Her pass is slightly astray, but off we go again. Substitute brings it out. And Megan Grant Harris chips over on the right touchline. The ball bounces not kind, but she's going to put pressure. But crucially, she has won a 5-metre scrum, or has she not? The referee seems to be indicating something different. He's walking slowly back towards the 22. It could be a penalty by the looks of it, looking at the concern, but MMU seem to have the ball. It's not very clear what's going on at this moment, unfortunately, Ollie.
Like a penalty. It's looking like a penalty.
It's an MMU penalty.
Oh, no, it's a free kick.
Oh, it's a free kick. Sorry about that, everyone. There is an MMU player down injured, the one who claimed the ball following.
It's like a spout of cramp there.
Megan Grant Harris's kick, she's claimed it, and the free kick has been launched out to the left-hand side. The winger brings it in, hands it off, but she's unfortunately dragged in. That was Tasha Barnes, she's been dragged under. But there's been a ruck formed, and Megan, she can't get her hands on it, so it's now a penalty to UoM, right on the halfway, on a metre inside the MMU half. The referee does the normal explanation of what's gone on, and Megan Grant Harris steadies herself, and this is going straight to touch. It's a relatively good kick. It gains around 15 metres for the line out. As the two teams now slowly make their way up, it's great the second half has really exploded into life. I know we've had only 5 points so far, but I'm really excited to be here as we see the UoM cheerleaders have their squad photo in a formation that's very, very football-esque. They just look terrific, Ethan. It's freezing up here in the gantry at the AJ Bell Stadium. UoM 12, MMU 5, but if there's one thing to warm your shackles, it is the UoM cheerleaders who put on a terrific display so far today. Line-out's gone and Helen Brown's taken that, but unfortunately it looks like the throw wasn't straight, and a scrum. No, the gap wasn't there in the line out, and we're taking that again. So UoM hooker Emma Proctor throws it in. It's been knocked down just past Helen Brown, but thankfully one of the forwards has come to pick it up, taken it to ground. Absolutely right things to do there every time. And there we go, another forward runner. We're just about... Oh, okay, that's a penalty. That's a high tackle. UoM have taken that quickly. That's been taken in. We're on the 22. Sorry for the kerfuffle, but it's exciting rugby. Annie Lyles has taken that in. And very purposeful straight lines being ran by UoM ladies at the moment. And we are on the 22 of MMU's final third. UoM still running very purposefully, but unfortunately just pulled off the pitch there. Our star Niamado Adedepa again putting her bit in for the team in the back line, but it is another line out, still in a dangerous position, but 12-5 at the AJ Bell. I'd say game on, anything can happen.
Absolutely, we're just readying ourselves. Anything could happen, and the thing that is happening now is Alex is coming back on. So, Alex, we'll see you out until full time.
Thank you, Ethan. Yes, a crisp autumn evening here at the AJ Bell Stadium. It is getting a bit colder now, but thankfully one piece of good luck for us, just as an injury is being, a slight cramp is being treated on the pitch. The event staff had warned us that the sewage works over there does provide a bit of a smell when it comes over when it blows over to the top of the stadium. But thankfully that's okay. We have a line out just past the UoM 22 metre line, and the ball is lost. And I think that is a knock on. Is that a knock on, Ollie?
It's looking like the line out wasn't straight, and UoM have selected a scrum, I believe. Am I right in thinking? Yep, UoM are feeding this in. Helen Brown stands over the scrum assertfully. This is a dangerous position here. We're in the final third of MMU territory, just past the 22 metre. And I'll be interested to see what happens here. The backline align themselves up, but if I wouldn't be surprised if Zoe Childs Ford takes this for a number 8 pickup, which she has. She's run blind, she's run quick, she's run purposefully. Oh my goodness, it's fantasy rugby. Zoe Childs Ford has gone for it, and what a try it was! Wow, Alex, what about that?
Yes, Alan. That was a fantastic move. She just blew the team away, really. There was no one was ever going to stop her at any point, was there, Ollie?
Zoe Childs Ford has just had a terrific match today. I'm telling you right now, you could see the fire in her eyes from kick-off at the start of this match. And every single run she's taken, she's ran straight, she's ran hard, and she's gained possession. And at the end of the day, when you're in the latter half of the second half of this match, you need that fitness, you need that fire, and she's delivered. UoM 17, MMU 5.
As we just prepare for the conversion kick, quite a tight kick on the right, favours the right foot kick, and that is, it's just short. So another conversion short for UoM, but a healthy lead of 12 points. I have to say, fire in the eyes is fairly Partridge-esque there from you, Ollie. But I'm not sure you could see her eyes quite from here. But no, it was a fantastic attack from UoM. There was no way that we were going to be stopped. And we are here, it is 17-5 with a roughly 20 minutes to go.
With eyes like that, Alex, you'd see them from Coventry.
Right, okay, well, yeah. Yes. Anyway, Man Met are just composing themselves and getting back to taking their kick from the halfway line. The crowd sort of coming in now, a bit more noise going.
How do you respond to this as Man Met, Alex? How do you do this? Because there was a point, latter half of the first half, where they just were looking completely on the ball and terrific. And, they find themselves 12 points down, to some of them maybe unfairly. What do you think?
Well, as UoM sort of are trying to get a move on the near side. They're really going through the number 7, and a brilliant offload there.
Claire Gordon there taking possession, hitting the ground, recycling the ball, and it's UoM possession, but ref has stopped play there. There's a few injuries on the pitch. One of the MMU girls is grappling her head, unfortunately, and so it looks like we'll have another break in this match, a chance for both teams to regain their thoughts. What do you think, Alex? How do MMU come back from this?
I think this game, it's starting to feel a bit more like last year, really. I think they've played a really, really good first half. I don't know, really. I mean, the problem is all the momentum is with UoM, and the problem with these injuries really won't help. If they're going into their substitutes fairly early on, I suspect that the organisation will then go and then they just won't be able to respond to anything. What MMU have done very well is take their chances. When the chances have been there, MMU have generally taken more than UoM. The problem is the supply there just have not been the frequency that UoM have got. The injuries seem to have been sorted out so far, I think without any substitutions. We wait to hear on the tannoy if that is the case. It doesn't look like that's the case. And I mean, MMU earlier managed to play pretty well with some injuries on the field anyway, so there is some promise there. Yes, as there have been 2 substitutions into the scrum for MMU, and we are just about to resume with a UoM put in the scrum just around MMU's 10 metre line.
Look out again for Zoe Childs-Ford, who looks poised to take the ball once more. And it's gone into the scrum, but it's straight back to Helen Brown, scrummy, who's passed it down the line. It's gone fly, an intricate scissor movement from the back line of UoM, which hasn't quite worked out, and play's been stopped. It's looking like another scrum for the benefit of Man Met, dead on the halfway line. You will probably be able to hear in the background that the University of Manchester fans have piped up. The atmosphere here is looking terrific at the AJ Bell. Just as we're going into the latter half of the second half, UoM are leading 17-5 against Manchester Metropolitan University at the Manchester Varsity. It's an MMU feed which has come straight back out that tunnel of the scrum, dead on, middle of the pitch, halfway line, and the scrum will be reset and they'll try again here. What can I say? Certainly got colder, but that's not putting off any of the fans here. They're in fine voice, hearing a sample of different chants and a very excitable atmosphere in the front row. Alex, anything to say here? How do you think this last part of this half will pan out?
Well, again, it'll depend on mistakes, and MMU really do have to get on the front foot here. The feed out of the scrum is just very good now from UoM. Good, Zoe Childs-Ford getting through, brilliant pass out to the wing. Unfortunately, not the numbers there. Unfortunately, going into a bit of a dead end. Manchester University passing out to one of the locks to go through the MMU defence. A lot of forward play at the moment, looking to pass out, and now they move out wide, and they do have the numbers this time, but they go straight through and make about a metre or two. But there is a turnover ball. MMU now have the ball, but they are being driven back to their own 22-metre line, and that is where we will resume, and a small incursion into the UoM defence, just going about 5 metres forward from the 22. And yeah, a lot of forward play. It doesn't seem to be working for MMU despite the new substitutes on and fresh legs, and so they pass it out wide, and there's been an almost a turnover ball from Olivia Ball, and but unfortunately it's knocked on, and it is advantage to MMU as they play it out wide and have made a breakthrough. They've made a breakthrough. It has been stopped. The pace, unfortunately, not there, but the offload was successful, and MMU have managed to get back to roughly to the halfway line as they drive through one of the number 22 for MMU, their new substitution. The fresh legs clearly playing a part in managing to break through the UoM defence as MMU playing it out wide. Their number 10 has made a breakthrough, and unfortunately the offload is unsuccessful, taken by Eve Chaplin of the University of Manchester, but there will be a looks like it should be a penalty to MMU, but there is an injury on the field for the University of Manchester. What have you seen that I haven't, Ollie?
I'm not sure what I've seen. I see a UoM player on the pitch, which I fear could be Captain Helen Brown. It's not. No, she's walking over to the injury to inquire about what's going on here. Both teams take a water break. The ball sits static on the halfway line, middle of the pitch. The injured UoM player, who looks to have been Eve Chaplin? No, indeed it's not. It's Megan Grant Harris, UoM's fly half. I'm not surprised that Scrummy and Captain Helen Brown has gone over to inquire about that. The two have been playing rugby together for 2.5 years. Indeed, Megan Grant Harris, UoM fly half, is Helen's rugby mum.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Make of that what you will. Yes, so MMU will now resume play on the halfway line. There's been a sort of a bit of confusion about that, but fortunately Eve Chaplin is okay. I think just it was a case of getting out the magic sponge from the medics there, but I think everything seems to be fine. The University of Manchester have now made another substitution, however. And have brought on Claire Gordon.
No, she's been on the pitch for a while there. That was just a correction that I was making. I'm not sure who's come on there, but I wouldn't be surprised. No, hold on, we've got a break here. We've got a break here from UoM. We're on the 22 in MMU's territory. It's going down the line. It's been passed to Olivia Ball, who's taken it into contact, but play has been stopped once more by the ref. What happened there, Alex?
So essentially there was a knock-on during that attack. I mean, it was another case of a brilliant dummy play there. Just unfortunately a mistake just after that meant that UoM couldn't take advantage of it. They had the numbers, they seemed to have the pace and the imagination, but unfortunately the execution lacking there briefly. We now have a scrum with MMU put in on the 22-metre line in MMU's half.
Speaking of dummy plays and MMU, that first try of theirs was terrific. The only points they've got on the board at the moment, 5 points. Terrific dummy led to that. The ball's been fed in by MMU, straight back out the tunnel. Again, almost a frustrating scene for both UoM and MMU players, because I think that's happened probably 4 or 5 times now this match. The ref calls for some clarity again, regroups the scrum and says, look, we're going to reset this, we're going to try again. We're on the 22 line of MMU's half, and MMU feed the ball in once more on another attempt.
I suppose there will be mistakes as well because there are nerves. This is a big game for both players, and again, turnover ball now. Helen Brown with the ball, driving it through the middle, past, and now UoM have possession within the 22-metre line of MMU. They're rucking at the moment, just about to use the ball, and they're driving straight through the middle again. Not really making much of an incursion, pretty static at the moment, and UoM are now using their backs and they're passing wide, almost a mishandle there, but fortunately for UoM, not a knock-on. 13 driving through the middle again, and again, still Zoe Charles Ford trying to drive through, again going through a bit of a cul-de-sac really. Now they're using the wide play. Again, they do not have the numbers, although they have almost made in, and now is into touch, and there will be a line out for MMU just by their 22-metre line.
We've got the old brigade still going very strong. Zoe Childs Ford playing a fantastic game. It's looking like some substitutions here. A commentator's worst nightmare in the sense that once anybody goes off or on the pitch, they're just swapping shirts. So numbers-wise, we might be having some problems. The latter end of the second half of the Manchester Women's Varsity. UoM leads 17-5, and the line out has been taken by MMU inside their own 22. MMU have taken that to ground, but it's a turnover, and UoM have taken it. Zoe Childs Ford, another purposeful run. She's not afraid of contact, that girl, and I'll tell you what, we're all the gladder for it. And there's a dummy. We're looking. University of Manchester looking to pass the ball down the line. That's Olivia Ball, who's just picked it up, the number 13. She's running, and another pass down the line. We've got the fullback of the University of Manchester there about to encroach on the 5-metre line of MMU. This is exciting rugby. It's purposeful. The offloads are fantastic, and I'll tell you what, just straight running, it's doing them a great job. Just outside the 5-metre line of MMU, ball's passed to fly half. Oh, and Zoe Childs Ford drops it. It's a knock-on, but she has taken a big hit, but she's straight back up. Of course she is. Of course she's straight back up, because she has been terrific today. She's taken a colossal hit from MMU, and dare I say, if I took that hit, I would not be standing up again. I'd be asking who I was and how many fingers I had, let alone could see. And we're back over to Alex here at the AJ Bell Stadium.
So another University of Manchester substitution. Unfortunately, again, all the swapping of shirts is really rather difficult. It's coming on with a number 12, so make of that what you will. Just pick a random player, pick a random name out of the ether. But there we go. As MMU have the put in halfway between the referee has gone in again to reset the scrum. This has been an issue during the game, but it has been an issue, but MMU are just about to resume. Some crowds also still trickling in. MMU resume. And this time it looks like they're very good UoM drive, but this has meant that MMU still have possession. They haven't done enough, and MMU are attempting to drive it through the middle of the pitch and try and escape their 22. And for a team that is trying to get to the other end of the pitch and trying to score some tries, 12 points behind with not very much of the game left to go, this isn't a great move, but they're trying it anyway, hoping for a mistake in the defence of UoM, which doesn't look to be happening. Driving it out wide this time. Take it down like that, yeah. But yeah, it is not. Yeah,
We've got less than 10 minutes left here at the AJ Bell. UoM with possession, again making their way meaningfully towards MMU's try line, but the ball's been dropped and the player's been stopped, and we've got another scrum in the tank on this pitch. As I say, less than 10 minutes left. I'd say this is, pretty much game, set, match from UoM.
Well, we said that last time, and who knows? We'll probably see about 5 tries for MMU now. But you heard it here first. But yes, there will be a scrum, a very, very good position for a scrum, regardless of where who has the put in. It is 5 metres out from the try line of MMU. UoM without the put in, but let's see what happens. So it goes to the back of the scrum. It looks like, is it wheeling? Is it quite wheeled? It hasn't quite wheeled, but MMU still have it, and they are attempting again to run it out of their half. It is not going well, and is that a try? Is that a try? No. It is not a try for UoM. It will be a 5 metre scrum with UoM's put in. Now, held up? Was that? I mean, I can't see what happens. They sort of pounced on it. It was a miss pass from MMU, and it was behind the little Aviva barriers around the cushions around the post. So I couldn't quite see what happened. What did you think was there, Ollie?
I think it was a pass back to an MMU player within their own try-scoring zone. It was knocked forward, but then taken. Well, that doesn't matter now. We're 5 metres out, and UoM are running hard in. 1 or 2 metres off the try line, and they've taken it into a maul. Anything could happen here. No, indeed, anything could happen here, and it's a turnover back into MMU's position, but still in a very dangerous place. They're slowly making their way out of the 5 towards their own 22. A good defensive display there from MMU, who just look to break the line. They have done there. They're making a bit of ground here, running quick phase rugby, the rugby which I would say got them their one and only try of the game at the moment.
But they really do have to do a bit more than this, unfortunately. They've spent the time, they must have spent the last 10, maybe even 15 minutes stuck in their 22, and they're not going to score tries. They're 12 points behind with very little of the game left to go. And there we have it, full time. There we have it. And the Manchester University Women's Rugby Club have won the varsity once again. Less emphatically this time, only 12 points, but I'd say really psychologically that's a big win, and there was no way that MMU were going to win that, and they should be very proud of themselves.
It's a huge win for UoM. They've put in a terrific effort this game. Even when times were looking pretty bleak, when MMU scored a somewhat joker of a try past them, selling them 3 or 2 dummies, it's been terrific. MMU look pretty happy with that result. Despite it being a loss, they've gone round the circle, they're jumping up and down, and they're celebrating. I'll tell you why they're celebrating, because it's a 40-50 point improvement on last year's result for them. Truly the winner of tonight's game has been both sides, because they've played a terrific match here at the AJ Bell. What a spectacle. UoM have won 17 points to MMU's 5. They're shaking hands, and what a match it's been.